Hey everybody, this is Vanessa Green with OKC Face Painter, and today I am talking about CO2 versus compressor. Mostly CO2 because this is my preference, and I am training a friend who is having trouble with her compressor and she's interested in CO2, but she's kind of nervous, which most people are, so I kind of want to dispel any fears there. All right, so first of all, let's talk about compressors. I will highly suggest getting one with a dual chamber like this one has, because this chamber fills up with air so that the engine is not, or excuse me, motor is not constantly running on this. I had one before that didn't have a dual chamber and it was constantly running. It would get overheated quickly, like within an hour, if even that. And then it would shut down and I have to wait for it to cool, and it wears them out much faster so that you have to replace them. So as you can see, it's quiet, right? But if I run this a little bit longer, ooh, how much longer do I, there you go. Then it turns on to refill. Yay! So that means you don't have to have all this noise all the time. That's kind of nice. And this also has a dual fan, which is great. I highly suggest that. There's a fan here and there's a fan here. And they all come with, well, I think they all come with a moisture trap right here. When you depress that, any moisture that has built up into the lines gets trapped in here, and you depress it and it pours out. You do not want water in your lines. It ruins your paint. And so definitely do that. But you also want to get a separate moisture trap like this, because I don't always remember to depress this one, but I always remember to depress this one because it's right next to my hand. So this one just screws on to your, whoa, not that one, screws onto your gun, like this, and then the bottom screws onto your tube. Why am I forgetting? I want to say rope, I want to say tube, but that's not what it's called. Anyway. That. And so this will keep it all nice and dry, and you just depress it. But even with those two things, if you are in super high humidity, which we can be in Oklahoma, you can be in Texas, you can be in Florida, lots of other places, even those two might not be enough to keep the water out of your lines, which is why I highly suggest getting either a CO2 tank as your backup if you prefer compressor, or a secondary compressor just in case, and other hoses. Hoses, that's the word. I found the word! Okay, so now we're going to talk about, oh, well, I should probably talk about, this is how you adjust your pressure right here. You just lift that up, you turn it this way or that way to get pressure. With my 0G system, we need higher pressure levels than a standard dual action airbrush. So with a dual action, I think I would stay between, I want to say it was like 12 and 15 psi. It's been a while since I've done it. With this, I like to stay between 18 and 22. Sounds kind of loud, I know. Anyway, so that's how you adjust that. And the only way to properly know what level you're on is to have this running and then adjust. Otherwise, it's not accurate. So now we're going to go to my love CO2. I have two 5-pound tanks here, and the reason why they are 5-pound tanks is because anything larger than 5 pounds, you have to have a special license to transport here and special equipment. I don't know if it's the case in every city, state, country, whatever, but it is here. So I have these, but they're also lighter, obviously, than a 10-pound tank would be, so my wussy behind is going to not break my back. That's great. I love that. All right, you will see these are the regulators. I have several. I have this one, that one, and one here on the floor. Yay, and we're going to talk about all three of them. So this one I got from Silly Farm probably 3 years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago. They are not in stock currently, haven't been for quite a while. I'm not sure if they ever will be again, so I had to find an alternative. This one I found online, and I will share the link because I can't remember it right now, at the bottom. It's okay. It works just as well. It's just this one says plus and minus, and this one says close and open. I prefer seeing close and open to plus and minus. And it's a weird thing. So I have that one. And then, because I thought I lost this one and that one didn't seem to be working, I went and got another one. Hi, how are you doing? So this one is from Harbor Freight. It is made for argon as well as CO2. So the fittings were a little bit different. I had to get a adapter for 3/8 inch to, I think it was 3/8 to 1/4. Yeah, 3/8 to 1/4, I think. And so that screws on there. And we have this other little piece right here. It's called a coupler quick change release. So you just lift that back and it releases this piece. So this is the male piece that attaches to your hose. And you just lift it up, push it into the female piece, make sure that it is as far up in there as you can before you release this so that you have a nice tight seal. It's extremely important. Some of your problems will be if that is not connected properly. Now this has ran out of gas. I need to refill them. And it's about $15 to refill them where I go here. That may seem like a lot, and it does add up over time, but each one of these tanks lasts me at least 6 to 8 hours, if not longer, on the job, like constant use. So to me, it's worth it to not have to worry about, one, noise, because sometimes I'm in birthday parties or something, and two, I don't have to worry about electricity. I don't have to worry about water in my lines. So yeah, I have 3 reasons why I prefer this. Anyway, so what you do is you turn this on. Ooh, what was that? Anyway, you open it up. I shouldn't say turn it on. You just open it up. And you want this to be closed before you open it. So minus all the way. And that means that the air will go and it'll stop right here. And it won't go any further until you open it. So what you want to do is you want to open. Oop, nope, that's connected to my compressor. Ha ha ha. Well, let's just pretend that this is connected. You want to turn this on before you open this up, because then you can adjust the pressure and see where you're supposed to be at. Just like the other one, just like the compressor, this little gauge will tell you how much PSI you are at. Now, in my experience, you need to have a higher PSI with CO2 than you do with compressors. I'm not sure why, but that's just the case. So, for instance, with my 0G, I go anywhere between 20 and 30 PSI. Granted, that might be because I'm using this one and it's older. I feel like it used to be lower. But even before, I would do probably between 18 and 22 on here. Whereas if I use my regular dual action gun, it will be more like, 15 to 20. All right. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about CO2. This does get very cold. It builds condensation right here, and it's very cold when it's filled. You can actually kind of like burn your hands if you hold on to it right after it's filled. So you want to grab it by here, not by here, ever. Grab it by here. Or sometimes you can get like a little attachment piece that has a handle. I highly suggest that as well. Anyway, it's like I said, it gets very, very cold and the condensation builds here and it gets cold. But as far as I have seen, nothing happens. It's just cold. The thing that scares most people is that this is a highly pressurized gas. So yeah, if you drop this, or if it falls over and it hits this hard enough to knock it off, and it's got to hit it pretty hard for that to happen, but if it hits that hard enough to knock it off, then you have a missile in your car, in your house, at your job. Don't do that. So you want to keep it stationary. That's important. I put mine in this cart, which I found online, and I can put a link in if anyone wants it. It's a rolling cart, so I can easily move it around my gigs. It has a really cool handle. Yay. this is where I put them in, and this is something I got at a hardware store. I don't know the name of it. It just screws to open and close, and it like gets tighter and looser, but I think it's for pipes, to connect pipes or duct work. So I just slide it into there and then I tighten it up, and then they don't move. They don't shift at all. You can lock the wheels and, you know, then it won't roll around. I put it in my car and I just put stuff around it like, you know, my CNG or tables or signage or whatever. And you can put stuff on the other side. So you can keep your compressor over here for backup. I have a special battery that I purchased. It's very fancy and it's rechargeable, huge, and it can run my compressor for like 4 or 5, 6 hours straight in use. So it's freaking amazing. If you're going to have a compressor, I highly suggest getting that battery too, and I will put a link in for that as well. But I'm going to get a second one eventually to run my lights on, to run my phone charger on, to run fans on during events, like small fans, not big fans. But it is amazing. I highly suggest that. But you can keep all sorts of stuff in here. One thing you definitely want to keep in here is a wrench so that you can tighten or remove this at any time and just keep it on the same, you know, tightness as whatever it is. I don't move this little thing around once I set it. But just keep that in your kit always. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And thanks for watching. Bye.